Going live. I'm going to pull this up so I can see the time. What's up, everybody? There's a good shot of the old armpit. Hope everyone's doing well. We are live for Rapid Fire Golf episode 37. Live here from the Bethlehem Golf Club. See if all my posts went on. Hope everyone's doing well. We got a little bit of wind, so we're going to have a little bit of shake action. We're going to keep this taped up here, and then Mary will just keep me some time with it. So those of you who haven't been here before, Rapid Fire Golf is like it sounds. You guys fire your questions away. I will rapidly answer them. For those of you who have been here before, you can fire questions away whenever you please, and we will we'll get talking about it. Like I said, there's going to be a little shake here to the camera. We'll do the best we can to stabilize. Hopefully the mic is okay. You can hear us okay. Got a couple nice fall days here left in Northeast in Pennsylvania here. So whenever you guys have any questions, you fire away, and then we will rock and we will roll. We've got some really cool collaborations lined up over the next 5 or 6 months that you guys will see and hear about as sort of our part of our mission over the winter to bring you guys some of the best in the business, get some videos of, as you saw some of the stuff we did with Marty Nowicki on here, with Chris Ryan on here. And we're going to do some more of that over the winter months. So that'll be fun. Steve, where should the right elbow go on the downswing? We actually just did a video on that today. We did a video back earlier in this year, I think in January, talk about the trail arm and sort of internal, external rotation. The point, Steve, being, so this being internal rotation, so forearm kind of horizontal, external rotation be forearm vertical, and the elbow more down. Players do different things on the way back, okay? So like some players you'll see, I know your question was downswing, I'm getting there, but on the way back, you might be more internally rotated sort of this way. Someone might be more externally rotated, sort of classic good-looking swings. You see the elbow a little more externally rotated at the top, which would be the upper arm, the humerus more in, and then the forearm more down towards the ground. Either way, whether you're like this or like this, as you start your downswing, that elbow has got to get back external, meaning the distance between the elbows has to get close. It doesn't have to, but it's easier way to do it. The right elbow gets closer to the left. This upper arm, this humerus bone, you don't ever want to get behind your seam line. So the arm stays in front. The elbow points more down towards the ground. That makes it easier to shallow the shaft from back here. So there's got to be external rotation. So the elbow, depending upon where you're at the top, it needs to get back in front of you on the way down. Here's the seam line of the shirt. Where your little seam line is, your elbow has got to stay in front of that as you begin your downswing phase. So again, it'll kind of be more towards the ground and then more in front of you towards your hip. And then your release pattern is really going to depend on your club face and your grip, etc. As you guys are hopping in here too, just an FY in terms of scheduling moving forward. Sorry about the siren. We are going to complete season 1 of Rapid Fire Golf here at the end of this month. So we have this Monday, we have next Monday, and the following Monday. We're going to do it through October, and then that's going to be season 1. There'll be 39 episodes of this, which is cool and crazy thing about. And then we're going to take a break for the winter months as we go travel around, and then we'll come back and we'll start back up in the spring next year for season 2. So this Monday, next Monday, the following Monday, and then next year. So Steve, hopefully that answers your question in terms of where the elbow points in space. The elbow's got to work towards the ground. If it goes behind you, if the elbow works horizontal, this right arm's behind your seam line, the shaft gets vertical, you are in trouble, we'll say, okay? From here, then you got to get that right arm back in front of you and shallow the shaft, unless you're like Jim Furyk, Rory McIlroy, who can rotate your upper body a ton to be able to do it. What are the best drills to improve rotation, James? There's so many drills to improve rotation. Depends on if you want to improve upper body or lower body rotation. I really like, and we just did a bunch of videos that'll come out in the next like month or so. So you guys will see some of these. I really like for rotation, if you took your setup, because I'm not going to move my bag in here, but if you put a bag or an object about a hand behind your left butt cheek, about one hand behind you, there's a bag back here. When you make your downswing, you want to feel like your left hip, so I'll do it in terms of you. Imagine there's a wall right here behind your left butt cheek. When you go down during your downswing, you don't want to get your butt back into the wall. What you want to do if there's a wall here is get the left side of your hip or the seam line on your pants to the wall before impact. That's a really good rotation drill. I'll say that again. Wall or bag behind you, like this. You want to get your left pocket or seam line to the wall before impact. Look how open my pelvis is. I'll do it from this side. So there's a wall here, left seam line to the wall before impact. Look how open that is. If I don't get there or I get to my butt cheek, I don't have as much rotation. That's a great rotation drill. That video will be out in a couple weeks. You can do the stick through the belt line and getting that across. There's a ton of them. We have a rotation masterclass, James. We lined all that out. If you search my name and rotation, you'll see a lot of videos. Did a lot of rotation videos. We could do a lot more. So hopefully that makes sense. Search my name, watch the YouTube videos. If you don't see anything in there, you can check out the masterclass or wait, we got some more videos coming in. Scott, what's up, buddy? Charlie, do players like Tony Finau, Scott Stallings, who have very short backswings, still rotate a lot? Yeah, they still get open. I mean, you got to keep in mind we're talking about anomalies there. Like those guys are the best of the best of the best in the world, so they're able to physically do some things, obviously, that not all of us are able to do. The theory is the shorter your backswing is, a lot of times, it's a little harder to get as open because you don't have enough time, right? So if I open a door on the way back and I don't open it very much, I'm going to close that door pretty darn quickly just because I didn't open it very much going back. Same thing. Can I get my arm short and still have great rotation? Yeah, you can. It's in theory harder. If you had a little bit longer swing, a little more turn on the way back in time, you have more time to rotate before your arms and hands come down. But again, that's all theory. Certainly there's examples of guys that do all kinds of different things. So yeah, they still have a ton of rotation. Good players rotate a bunch, right? There's no real getting around that, right? Like their pelvis has a lot of rotation. The rib cage has a lot of rotation. Some guys that hit it really good aren't open, you know, like we always say, like, hey, 40, 45 with the hips. That would be great, right? 10 million a month would be great. That would be ideal, but you got to kind of work towards that. You have to have some amount of rotation. Eric, what's up? What's going on? Hello from Scotland. I'm working on hands-on very little lead form rotation. How steep is okay on backswing? My swing plane is looking pretty vertical now. So yeah, if you get your if you have a lot of rotation during your backswing, obviously the club's going to get flat. Okay, so if you make your backswing and you have a lot of form rotation this way, the club's going to be very flat halfway back. So it'll be pointed well outside the ball line. The idea here is, if this is my golf ball and I take my setup, club on the side of the stick, the idea is to feel not a lot of form rotation. Keep the club face in front of you, club head down the toe line. And then from here, you want to get your hands in line with the pec bicep and the butt of the club. Hopefully you can see that blue stick. How steep is okay? Well, most really good ball strikers are on the ball line with that stick. I don't know if you can see that or not, but they're on the ball line or a little bit inside of the ball line, kind of between the ball. Here's the ball. Here's my feet. There's a little zone here. Most good players are on the ball line, a little inside of the ball line, or kind of between the ball and halfway between my feet. If you get the club on your toe line, that would be very vertical. It would be better than this for most players. The backswing doesn't matter as much if you get the downswing correct. So like you can be Jon Rahm. Jon Rahm goes in, under, flat, keeps it flat, and then shallows it out and bows it down. You have to be an idiot to change that backswing for the sake of changing that backswing. Okay, it all depends on what you do during the downswing. But yeah, in theory, you would take out this forearm rotation, get the club here, get the club head pointed somewhere between the ball and your toe lines. Toe line would be pretty steep, but the shaft being more vertical with the hands deep do give you a good, like it's hard not to shallow the club from there. If I get the hands deep enough in line with my right bicep, right pec, and the shaft line's more vertical from here, it's hard not to get the club shallowing from there. It's just a sort of an action reaction there. Hole 19, what's it about benefits? So Ron, there's a lot of stuff with hole 19. There's a stat tracking app. You can use GPS on the course with them. They have a lot of stuff you can do with deals with different tee times and stuff, deals you can get. If you search, Ron, Google hole 19, look on the app like that, you'll see all the stuff on there. Eric, thanks for all you do. You're very welcome. I'm over-rotating the club face through the ball. The toe is passing the heel too quickly. How can I get more club face stability through the ball? Well, so whatever your error is, generally you got to feel the opposite. So if you're saying you feel like your face is rotating too much, then what do you need to feel? That it's rotating very little, okay, or even counter rotating. So that's everyone, right? You got to feel the opposite. There's no getting around that. Now the question is, why do you have so much face rotation, and can you keep it stable? Face rotation during the downswing and follow through all depends on where your club face is throughout the downswing. I'm going to say that again. How much face rotation you have through impact all depends on where your club face is relative to the arc on the downswing. If you pull up a swing of a player you like who has very little face rotation, and you look at where their club face is during the downswing, it will be tilted down towards the ground some amount. Think about it this way. If your club face was closed, whatever that means, Do you have incentive to rotate the face a lot? No. If your club face is open, do you have incentive to rotate the face a lot? Yes. If you want to not rotate the face a lot, you need to make your club face more closed, or at least square to the arc. Dustin Johnson, face tilted down. Brooks Koepka, Victor Hovland. Any examples you would use of guys with a passive release style or drive hold, they've got neutral to stronger grips, and or they got a face that's more here. You want a guy with a weaker grip or a face that's more open that plays good, they've got more of a flip roll release pattern. I don't think there's any exceptions to that rule. If you want a passive release, if you watch, what videos are doing that? So match your grip to wrist conditions we talked about, stable release pattern with Marty, solid contact videos. We've done videos before, which kind of the explanation, hey, listen, your face needs to be tilted down towards the ground in the downswing some amount. Here's toe up. If you're toe up at last parallel, you ain't having no stable release pattern. You're gonna have a little roll action. You're gonna have your face tilted down either through a strong grip or wrist conditions, and then you can learn how to get the handle for it. It's all face angle. It is all face angle, which it needs to be tilted down either through grip or wrist conditions. That's true for every golfer ever. So that's the answer to that. I don't know if I answered that a little bit, but I went on a little spiel that hopefully helps someone. Thank you for the tip you gave me last week working on it. You are welcome, Kevin. Scott, coming down, is your elbow almost touching your hip? So your elbow and where your arm works depends on internal rotation, external rotation. And then there's also abduction, which would be like your lead arm away from your body. There's adduction. Mary, can you hold that thing? Yes. So which would be the arm towards the body, right? So as I work down during my downswing, here's my shoulder that's internally rotate, or externally rotate rather, which is my elbow down towards the ground. My humerus bone is kind of parallel to the ground. My forearm's more vertical. Now from there, you can see, if I do this properly, the more externally rotated I am, you can start to see my elbow underneath my left arm. You see that there? That's external rotation. This would be Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka type of feel. Now look at where my arm is from here to do that. Elbow down, elbow down. Here's an internally rotated arm that's more up like this. I say that's above my left arm. Now, if I stay on the way down and that stays internally rotated, I'm jacked up there, I'm in trouble. All good players, you see that right arm goes more underneath. So if you go up to the top and you're more out this way, that's fine. But then from there, you got to get that more down in front, or you can keep it more there and then it's already in front of you as you start on the way down. So in terms of where it goes in terms of this action, I don't want you to go up to the top and be trying to pull your arm that much closer to you. It's going to come in front more naturally, but it's more about getting the arm in that external rotation position, not internally rotated this way, more than getting, so it's more this. See my arm going from here to here? Here's my humerus bone up out this way, my forearm in front, elbow behind me, to here. That's the move. It's not as much about this. So hopefully that answers that.
Is this helping?
That's much better, yeah. I'm sure it's not ideal. So yeah, where is it to your hip depends more. Here's an arm at delivery that's kind of straight up and down. So here's humerus bone straight up and down with my forearm, like this. That's neutral. If I internally rotate my arm, now it's crooked this way. That'd be an elbow away from my hip. If I externally rotate it, now it looks like it's in front of my hip, yeah? That's all internal, external rotation. This looks like no good golfer. You could play from here, 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 you could be an all-star from here. So the trail arm more externally rotated would be more in line with good ball striking. Homer, love your instructional videos, thank you. Just curious if you have a driving range general workout that you would suggest. I think in general, in terms of workout, if you mean like practice-wise, if you search my name in practice, you'll see a video called The Perfect Practice Routine. There's 4 sections of the practice. That'll kind of outline my general thoughts. Of course, in the Facebook group, coronalgolf.com, the members, we talk about more practice stuff in depth. But in general, you watch that video, you'll get the general idea. For those of you that are on here, weren't on here before, just an FYI, we do have 2 more episodes after this Monday for season 1. Season 1 will come to a completion at the end of October. This week, 2 more weeks, and then we'll be back for season 2 in the springtime. So I know you guys all plan your weeks around the live session, so just FYI. Let's see. What would you recommend as a short warm-up stretching routine before a round of golf? I think the biggest thing before you go play is to warm up. So less static stretching, more kind of ballistic, more movement patterns. So just depending on what you're doing, get blood flowing and moving around. For me, when I go play, I just want to loosen up. It's more about me moving around, not doing like a stretching routine, getting as many swings as possible. For me, the best warm before I go play is hitting balls. So that'd be like the best thing to get my blood flowing. If I can't hit balls, I'm going to make a lot of swings and just kind of move around as much as I can. Mark, I hit my hybrids very solid, but my 3-wood seems to top all the time. Should I have my shaft short? Maybe, Mark. There's too many variables for me to say yes or no on that. We just did a video on how to stop topping your fairway woods that was about getting your sternum and body closer to the ground and lengthening the arms by 45. I would check mark those things first. Yeah, I mean, if you're hitting your hybrids really good and just your wood different, that could be a club thing. I have to see your video to say for sure. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to get that checked by a club fitter just to make sure. If I throw a golf ball with my right hand to a target into the ground a half a yard in the target line, my hip opens perfectly. But swinging a golf club, the hip is very passive. So why is this? Because there's a consequence to it. I could stand behind a wheel of a car and imagine myself turning and moving and doing all that really easily. I get on a highway at 120 miles an hour. It's not as easy to do because there's a consequence to it. I could pick my right foot forward and drop it on the ground in front of me with ease. On top of a building, I can't do that because there's a negative consequence of me falling. So the reason why you can do things when no ball's there is because there's no consequence to it. When a ball there is a consequence to it. We biologically are designed to survive, and our brain doesn't want to do things that provide negative results. And so that's exactly why it happens. I would just get rid of any practice without a ball because it's virtually useless. Once you get beyond the phase of understanding what you're doing, if you're practicing without a ball, there's very little return on investment. Like, it doesn't transfer. Like, it just doesn't. I can practice a speech all day in front of a mirror. I need to be in front on a stage with 10,000 people over and over and over again, get good at that. Same thing with a ball. Record yourself and then make adjustments with a ball at normal speed. That's the way to do it there. Larry, what's up? Can you play good golf if you have an early wrist hinge and wrist set in your backswing? Absolutely, you can. When you have an earlier set on the way back, if I did nothing else and just did that, what happens? The club goes up and out in front of me, right? Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm also going to have some amount of turn and arm rotation. So when I do my takeaway, it's easier to get the club head up and out with an earlier wrist hinge. What you have to watch is the more you hinge, the more your lead wrist cups. So if you hinge too much early, your lead wrist can cup too much, and then you could have some face issues at the top. So if you have a stronger grip, if your V's are more right shoulder, you can hinge more and the face still stays pointed down. If I've got a weak grip like Jon Rahm and I hinge a lot, the face gets a little too open. That's why guys with weaker grips typically will be a little more unhinged and underplaying because it keeps the face more square. Like Jon Rahm or Bryson DeChambeau, who have weaker grip patterns, they'll do that and kind of curl under, or Jordan Spieth, to keep the face square. So you need a stronger grip. Got to watch the face and get more open. It is easier to get it up and outside. You got to make sure you turn as you're doing that. What you're trying to do with your takeaway is get from setup to first parallel with like not a ton of action, right? More chest and shoulder turn to here is going to be a little bit of a hinge from here, a little bit of a soft fold to the right arm, a little external rotation. But if you're too far this way or you're way under, then you're going to feel this, and that'll get you neutral. So it really just depends on where you're at there. But you can play good with just about anything if you match the pieces. Travis, struggling to get my right arm to go external in the downswing, drills or fails. Yeah. So we just did a video on this too. And what you need to do, Travis, so number one, search my name in internal versus external. It's going to say a little bit of what I'm going to say here. And then we're going to have a video coming the next month or so that'll go over this more. You have to determine whether you want to keep it out or keep it in on the way back. So one school of thought is if you can't get your arm external on the way down, then you should just get it external on the way back, which would be more elbow towards the ground sort of sensations, right palm back at the camera. This would be more of your backswing look, and then it's already in front of you. If you want to let it go out to get the club down the line, maybe some more speed stuff, then you have to get that back in. How do you do that? You can squeeze your elbows back together. You can feel like your upper arm, your humerus gets back in front of your body lines. You can feel your elbow down towards the ground. You can feel your forearm more vertical in transition. You can use a tour striker ball and squeeze your elbows together. Or you can just keep it more in front of you during the backswing, right? Either one of those could be fine. There's some drills and feels you can do where you put your left arm behind your right elbow and feel like you press that back in front as you start down. Tour striker ball. Again, you got to make the conscious decision first, Travis. Do you want to change it during the backswing or during the downswing? If you want to change it during the backswing, you need to feel those same things on the way back. So as you go here, you're going to feel this upper arm more in front of you, not behind you. And you're going to feel your elbow more down towards the ground and sort of squeezing in your shoulder. This will get you more externally rotated compared to this way. So yeah, it just depends on how you want to attack that. Rob, what's your best drill to stop the hands from flipping at impact, creating the flip hook? If you have a flip hook, you have a club face issue or a swing direction issue. So the best stroke to get rid of a flip is to get the club face squarer earlier and eliminate your incentive to flip. You don't flip on purpose, Rob, right? You didn't say to yourself, hey, Rob, on this next swing, I'm going to start flipping, and I'm going to do that for 6 months. You flip as a reaction to find a solution. Your brain's trying to find a solution. Typically, the face is too open. Sometimes your shaft is too steep and you're shallowing that way, or you have a swing direction problem and you're doing that just to hit the ball. So it depends on why you're doing it, Rob. If I could see your swing, I could say pretty easily. For those of you on here, when I say that, you can check out GorillGolf.com. It's where you can post your swings. So yeah, it's really, you got to fix whatever's causing it. I can give you some drills to do to get the handle forward and feel in risk conditions, but you got to really check and see, is there something going on earlier on causing it? There always is, and then you can fix it from that perspective. If you search, what's the video we did, Mary? We had like the face tilted on the plane here, and then you had the like dynamic loft, or search my name in like solid contact, dynamic loft, stuff like that, and you'll see some of that stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's see here.
We did a couple dynamic loft too.
Yeah, I had a bad job explaining that. There's a couple comments on here, Mayor. If you want to maybe delete them, I'll hold the thing here for a little bit. Thanks. How did Sam Snead swing so smooth and yet 130 miles an hour? It's fast enough to where I'd think it'd be a violent motion, yet his evenness of tempo is phenomenal. Comments. Yeah, just incredible talent. How does LeBron James jump and dunk and it looks like nothing? How does Michael Jordan do what he did and nothing? Michael Phelps swimming, you know, Clayton Kershaw with a curveball, just looks like effortless. A lot of talent and good mechanics. Things match up perfectly. It's really that. There's no like secret to it. It's how do any athletes that are phenomenal that you watch seem effortless? How does a great running back look like he's not even moving at all when he's running super fast? Usain Bolt runs at incredible speed, looks just effortless. Effortless is really great mechanics, a lot of talent, and just beautiful timing. That's what I got. Yeah. What's up? What's up? What's up? Must be warmer in Ontario. Yeah, it's probably 65, 70. We've got a nice day today. It's been a little chilly, but it's really nice out now, knock on wood. With wedge system, I can control distance better with low trajectory. I struggle with distance control with high shots, 12 greens or punt greens. Any suggestions? No, that's exactly what everyone struggles with. I struggle with high wedge shots compared to low wedge shots, and especially the front pins. Tiger Woods struggles with that. Jack Nicklaus struggled with that. The best players in the world struggle with that. That's why they hit them low. That's why that is. That's like, generally speaking, good players struggle to control a draw off a tee, but they have an easier time with a fade. That's why they hit the fade, right? That's the solution. You hit them low. So if you have a front pin with a low trajectory, or you have a front pin and you have a really short distance and you can't get it tight with a low trajectory, don't hit the ball there. Hit it farther back so you can hit more of a full shot and you don't have to hit that low wedge. Hello. Like my iron play, but many head games with woods, much anxiety. Yeah, you got to fix it up so you hit better shots, then you're not worried about it. Or figure out not to be worried about it either way. Can you talk about the importance of club face versus swing path? Yeah, club face is the king of the hill. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Where your club face in space causes a million different reactions later on. If you search some previous videos, talk about that more at length. But in general, that's just factual. I mean, where your face is everywhere. During your backswing at the top, on the way down, the best way to make good changes is change your club face. If you've got any issues with flipping, steep downswings, rotation, etc., the best way to learn that is make your club face more closed. Every single junior player I've ever worked with before they took lessons who had strong grips, every one of them, I mean, without fail, who could play a lick, who had strong grips and really shut club faces, guess what every single one of them did? They had their elbow external. They had the handle forward. They had good rotation. They had good pivots. They had passive releases. Every single one of them without fail. Every single junior I taught who had a weaker grip, who could play, came down, they stalled, they flipped, they threw. Every one of them. Grip and club face. There's just no doubt about that. Same thing with swing direction. I mean, good players have a path that's neutral to the right in general, struggle with pushes and hooks when you learn how to play. Players who aren't as advanced have a steeper pattern over the top, no doubt about it. Learning to get the club path more from inside and having that be your new problem, you could ride that to shooting par. If you're too far under playing and can't shoot around in the 70s, that's not your issue. It's elsewhere, right? I've had a million players who are too far under playing play good. So I usually tend to get people too far under playing on purpose, and then you can learn how to find middles pretty easily. So yeah, club face is everything. Great right arm info, thank you. When I fat it intends to hook. When I fat, it intends, I'm assuming you mean when I fat, it tends to hook, pull a good percent of the time. Toe is digging, is bending it flat, putting a Band-Aid on issue. Is bending your club face flat, putting a Band-Aid on issue? Yes, if there's an issue. And when you hit it fat and then you pull hook, yeah, so you have a club face issue somewhere. Ben, there's just too many potential possibilities why that could happen for me to guess. There could be like 10 different things. So I'm not even going to guess at that. If you want me to check out your swing, you feel free to check out Cornhole Golf. There's just too many things there for me to guess. So external rotation would be as much a swing fundamental as anything else on the way down. Yes. In the backswing, can you have some forearm rotation? Yes. Is there like a quarter that's okay in the backswing? Yes. So forearm rotation early has a lot to do with swing plane, meaning in the takeaway, if I have no forearm rotation, the club head wants to be more out. If I have a lot of forearm rotation, and there's also shoulder rotation, but a lot of forearm rotation, the club wants to be under. So what you want to do with all of these things, like how much of this should I do, how much that should I do, is have checkpoints to hit. And then whatever you feel to get there is sort of the answers to that. At takeaway, what we use as a checkpoint is at first parallel, good players typically have the club head about even with the hands. So if I have a good camera angle right there, club head's even with the hands and it's slightly toe down. It's not up and out. It's not up. Now, some of them are different places, but about right here is about normal down the toe line. So for me to go from here to there, I didn't just go right here. This would be no forearm rotation. From here to outside my thigh, right? This would be no forearm rotation. Now, if I do that with a club in, that would look like this. I didn't do that, right? I hinge and I forearm rotate. So here is my right arm moving to take away with no hinge, no forearm rotation. So that's not reality, right? I rotate to about here. So how much rotation? Take your right arm in a club, go back to where it's just outside your right thigh, and then you got to hinge it up to where it's even with your hands and rotate it to what's right there. We should do a video on that. That's a good little thing there. So boom, hinge it up, rotate it. That's where you should be. That's how much forearm rotation. How much from here to the next spot would be getting it in line with your pec and bicep, but keeping the butt of the club on the ball line. If I start to over rotate from here, the club wants to get too flat. If I under rotate, the club wants to get a little more vertical. So yeah, there can be some forearm rotation. There will be some forearm rotation in some trail arm bend during the backswing.
Say that video again.
I'll put it down at the end. Okay. What's the difference between good rotation and over the top rotation? I don't think people get over the, now, so let me explain it this way. If I go from here like this and I go to the top, some might go, hey, if I really rotate, if I open my upper body too quick from here, there can be a tendency to get to this way. Having said that, I've seen a lot of good players who open really quick from the top and still shallow the club. So are you over the top because you rotated too early, or are you just over the top because you're over the top? I don't know. I think from here, what you see good players as stock, I'd go up to the top, I'm turned 90. By the time I get to left arm parallel, I should be about still 45 degrees close to the target line from here to keep the lead arm still in from here, and then I can deliver from that spot. So that would be what people would call over the top because of rotation, is they would say the trail or the torso got open too soon, right shoulder be too high. So if I go down and my shoulder, this right side bend, the distance between my shoulder and my hip stays the same distance, and I turn, that would look like this. If I turn and I add side bend, which is right shoulder close to my hip, I do nothing with my arms and hands, what happens to the shaft? It shallows. Here's no right side bend. The distance between my hip and my shoulder stays the same. Turning. Here is turning with right side bend. The shaft shallows. That needs to be a video title. I'll hold this. Can you write that down, Mir? Turning with and without right side bend shaft. This is how we come up with these beautiful YouTube ideas. So that's what I would say with that. And then like rotation, just timing and matching things up like that, right? Like a car can't go too fast. It might be too fast given a situation, but like car can't go too fast, right? There's no, to me, like there's no you're not going to get too rotated. You might be out of sequence with where your arms are at, or et cetera, but that's difficult to get with the pelvis.
Turning with and without right side bend.
Yep, and then shaft. Yep, thank you. Any advice how to not throw your back out while hitting range balls? Don't hit a lot, and then yoga. Yeah, yoga. Good afternoon. What's up, Robert? Can you please demonstrate the tee and glove drill? I'm a bit late in signing on for demonstration. I did not do that. So the tee and the glove drill is a video also we have coming out that we shared with the members of Cornhole Golf early, which is a video we saw from Andrew Rice originally. And basically what happens is you put a tee in your glove like this, and you want to get the tee facing the target. So if I were face on, so the tee goes kind of straight, I don't know if you can see it, like kind of this way. So it goes straight towards the target. So the tee is in my glove, the tee and the logo are pointing towards my target. Now during the backswing, if I want to get the face in a good spot and square, I want to get the tee feeling like it's pointing at the camera. You see the tee or my logo on my glove pointing at the camera. Now when I do that, that gets my face in a really good spot. Now as I start down, if I want to keep my face in a really good spot, I'm going to feel like the tee points towards the camera even more. Now when I do that, you see how that squares the face up? And then it makes my left wrist flat, my right wrist bent down. If I open the face from here, the tee's in the camera. If I open, tee's not in the camera, it's in my glove. If I open it, if I go back and I make the tee point towards the target, okay, this way, or up and towards the target, now my face is open. Or if I'm good and I go tee towards the target, I open it up. You want to go logo of the glove or tee away from you. So I feel like during the backswing, you do that, it's kind of palms feeling here, and then the palm towards the camera. Right palm towards the camera, or tee towards the camera, back of left hand towards the camera, or tee towards the camera, back of left hand towards the camera, or tee towards the camera. Look at what that does to my downswing. I mean, it's perfect. Now that feels like I'm going like this. It feels like I'm going like twisting it away and twisting it away. And my right hand, when I'm doing that, feels like I'm going this way, and then like I'm twisting it like this way. So I'm going this way. Now, in general, of course, I don't actually do that, and that feels awful. It feels terrible doing my swing. But now what happens when I do that with a club is I go back of left hand, right palm towards the camera, back of the hand and tee to the camera, and then increase that on the way down. I mean, look how good that looks. I mean, that looks perfect, does it not? But it feels like a twist away. So if you normally get too cupped or this way, it's going to feel weird. It's going to feel like a twist away. So Robert, that's how the tee and the glove drill works. Shout out Andrew Rice, who will be with me in the beginning of December. Have you guys seen Andrew Rice's stuff before? If you guys have any topics you want us to do, we're going to be down with him in the beginning of December doing some stuff. I don't know if I was supposed to say that, but that's out there now. 10 minutes on a stationary bike. Yeah, that'd be beautiful. Anything before you go play to get the blood flowing is good. What's a good drill for releasing through impact without flipping? Get your club face square earlier, as I said earlier on. It's all like if I had a target, the 100-yard sign, and I had my face tilted down during the downswing, and I get the ball to the target, you can't flip from there, depending upon your definition of a flip. It's face. Get your face more closed. Grip, wrist conditions. If you have a flip and you take your grip and you got the V's, both of them, at your trail shoulder, so we'll call that strong. Face is neutral, grips on my trail shoulder. During the backswing, you do what we just talked about. Back of the hand towards the camera, right palm towards the camera. Look at the face there, okay? We'll call it close. And then you increase how you get the back of the hand and the right palm towards the camera. Look at that club face, tilted way down. And you keep that thing tilted down. You get the face here like this on the way down. I challenge you to do that and hit some shots and learn how to hit a ball at a target. Put a stick in front of you like this. It's like the ultimate flip fix. That's another video. We're on fire today. Strong grip, okay? This feels really strong to me. Side note, that video we did about the left elbow. If you have a really strong grip, your elbow is going to be more towards the target, not towards your hip. Okay, so that is okay if you got a stronger grip pattern. Strong grip, I got my back of my left hand and my right palm turning towards the camera. So I feel like I'm taking the face, I'm turning it under this way. So shut face, and I'm twisting it away this way. So face feels super shut. Now I feel like if I release it, the ball's going way left. So what I want to do is put a stick in here and launch it to the right with a half swing. The ultimate flip fix. Grip here, we're gonna have a million videos. Grip strong, curling it under, face away, curl it more under, and hit it to the right. So I'm just gonna do a little half one. Super strong grip, curl it away, and learn how to hit it. That was basically right on the target. Now I feel like when I'm doing that, I feel like I'm holding it forever. Am I actually holding it forever? Of course not. Of course I'm not. But if I normally have a throw and I want to have it look good, it's got to feel like I hold it some amount, and you have to get your face in line. If everyone on here who doesn't like their flip did exactly what I just said for the next 12 months, not one day, not 5 balls, 12 months, 20 to 30 balls a couple times a week, you would never flip again for the rest of your life. How's that for a guarantee? Money back guarantee on $0. Okay. That would fix all the flips. Should you curve the ball a large amount or minimize it when working the ball? You should curve it a minimal amount, especially at the higher level you play. In the beginning of learning to curve it, you should probably curve it a bunch so you know how to do that. And then over time, as you get better, you bring the curves in. Good players curve it very minimal amount, especially with the irons, very minimal. But learning how to curve, you can curve it quite a bit. It's harder with modern balls and clubs, but you can do it. Only 2 episodes remaining, question mark. I know, devastating. What are we going to do Mondays at 5 p.m. now?
Find us on Facebook.
Find us on Facebook, yeah.
We'll be there all winter.
What are we going to do on Mondays at 5 now? Yeah, Robert, for you, we'll still, I mean, the Facebook group, I mean, obviously our cornergolf.com, that won't stop. When does season 2 kick off? We don't have a specific firm date yet. Depends on our travel schedule because we're traveling a lot over the winter. But springtime, we'll put a date out once we're ready. How can I stop yips with chipping? Yeah, Robbie, you have to determine why that's happening. There's a couple of reasons it could happen. It could be a swing length issue. So sometimes people who have yips I see are really short on the way back, and then they go real fast and long because they're too short. You might have a club face that's really closed and you're yip because of that. You could be drastically underplaying and you're yip because of that. There's several things. I've seen probably like 5 or 6 main reasons why people yip. You got to find out why that is and then fix that. Robbie, same thing. I'm telling you, if you join cornergolf.com, it's $39 a month. Post your videos in there. We can tell you why it's happening and fix it. But I'd have to see it, really. Should long iron swing be different than short irons? In terms of what you're trying to accomplish, no. Consciously, what you can control in the swing, it shouldn't be different. If we put markers on your body and tested it, like the biomechanics, would there be some minor differences? Absolutely. The club is longer. The lie angle is different. Your posture is going to be different naturally. So some things will change. But for example, if you're working on, like, let's say for me right now, I'm working my left shoulder a little lower because I get flat. I'm working my wrist conditions and my trail arm. Now, I'm going to feel that same thing with a 9 iron and the same thing with a 5 iron. It's like what you're trying to control, same things. If we actually measured it, slightly different. Great analogy with the car. Thank you, sir. Using that with my high school kids tomorrow. Good, good. Any advice on getting them to ignore the outcome when working on a swing piece? There's got to be a purpose or motivation behind it. So if their intention is like change my swing because I want to play good today, then that needs to be changed. If you've got a kid that, let's say, shoots 90 and you want them to shoot 80, you've got to have a conversation with them on what exactly needs to happen for them to do that, lay out a time frame, and them have a firm understanding this is part of the process. They've got to have 100% trust in it and understand that you would never suggest a swing change unless you were 100% confident they're going to get better with it. So when I work with someone, I can tell they're uncertain, which doesn't happen as much now, but like in the beginning when I first started, because most people come now just kind of trust what I say, which maybe not be a good thing. I would say, listen, I'm not even going to suggest something unless I am 100% sure that when we do this, you're going to play better. It won't even come out of my mouth. So if over the phase of us working together, I even suggest something, you've got to know with 100% certainty that it's going to get you better, and you got to trust me all in on it, and we're going to do it and beat it down until we get it, period. That's it. And then the key is you have to get vertical with everything. A player who stops all the others, we talk about this in the membership a lot. Everyone wants to like work on just their swing and they stop all the other skill areas. It's a huge mistake. You don't start investing once you save money when you're 40. Like you need to invest little bits at a time your whole life. Like you don't start later, right? You don't stop your putting stuff. You don't stop your chipping stuff. You don't stop your on course, even though Nick Faldo did that semi-successfully. You don't stop all those things. You got to get good at all that. So while they're improving their swing, they need to be getting better at putting. Oh, but coach, I'm great at putting. You're not. No, you can be better at that. You can make more putts. You can get up and down, et cetera, et cetera. So buy-in and trust is a big thing. And then, Courtney, I mean, you got to make sure they're doing the right stuff, right? Like that's all good and fine in theory. But you got to make sure you're actually working on the right stuff. Steve, thoughts on PlaneMate training aid by Martin Chuck Tour Striker? What drills or stages can be used? Simulate the same effect. So I only used it once. They sent one over. We're going to go out with Martin later this year as well. I'm sure we'll probably do some videos on that while we're out there. I used it once. I really liked it. It was kind of in a busy period for us, so I haven't pulled it back out yet. I have it across. I need to play with it more. My initial thoughts, I really like it. I like any training aid that you use with video feedback to confirm you're doing anything. I don't think you should use any training aid, not Tour Striker, not something, anything, by itself with no other feedback, because you still don't know, you're guessing. So ultimately, video is the king of the hill. You need to video it. Now, if that helps you, some of the width stuff, some of the protocols they have, excellent. So yeah, initial thoughts, I really like it. But videos, you got to still video. Like if you're not videotaping yourself, you're fooling. Like you're fooling yourself. I do this all day, have a good semi-knowledge of what I'm doing, And I'm still surprised when I video my own swing, what it looks like compared to what it feels. Even though I spew this all day to you guys, it's still, I need to videotape myself. So you have to do that. There's no getting around it.
When you look on here.
Yeah, it just always feels different than it looks. There's no getting around it. That's why I always say live view. Like, we make a little commission off of live view. I don't care about that. I care because if you actually watch yourself as you practice and you work with the coach knows what they're doing, there's a good chance you could improve and get better. If not, man, it's a really difficult process. You have to videotape yourself regardless. Anyway, Robbie, should grip with right hand be facing target or pointing down so both hands clap together? So it depends on how strong it is. So if you want to go a neutral grip, which I would say neutral is the V's towards the collarbone, my trail hand is pointed probably like 20 to 30 degrees to the right. It's not straight at the target. Straight at the target with my right palm would be a little bit of a weaker grip than I would prefer for most people. So if I go straight at the target, that V's more at my chin. I want my V to be at my collarbone, which would be my right palm pointing a little more to the right. If I had a stronger grip, which would be my V pointing at my shoulder or more, my palms pointed more 45. You can play great golf. There's great golfers with weak, neutral, or strong grips. If you struggle to play well, and or you've been, you struggle with a flip, you've been hitting the ball to the right, not compressing the ball, any of that, then to me, you don't have options. We're going with medium to neutral grip because it lines up everything else so much more successfully. There's anomalies. It's not true for every single person, but that's a general thing. Is it ideal to have the same shaft on your wedges? Yeah, it depends. Some players will weaken their wedge shaft. Some people will change the kick point on it or change little pieces, flatten or adjust lie angles. I've always just played the same shaft through the bag. Now, that's just what I've done. Maybe if I got my clubs fit and I had different wedges, I might have been better with it. I don't know. I'm a pretty good wedge player. I've always had the same shaft. I would work with a fitter always on these questions. You doing okay back there?
I'm good.
Hi, Eric. Is it a bad idea to add left side bend at the start of the takeaway? No. While the body turns towards the left shoulder better as the club is the left. Oh, I'm sorry. Is the left side bend better as club goes down? So there's the bends are happening right away. So if I take my setup position, this is a good kind of more in-depth question, but it's good. Here's me straight up and down with no bend. Okay, so meaning my shoulders are level. My shoulders relative to my hips are the same distance away. There's no bend. At address, I have a 8-iron. So from here, I'm going to have a couple degrees of tilt or bend, meaning my spine goes a little bit this way when I have my bend. That means my right shoulder is getting closer to my hip, okay? So a couple degrees, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. Now, as I do that, okay, watch that again. As I do this, the bottom part of my spine stays pretty straight. So from my center of my pelvis through about lower kind of thoracic here, middle part of my, there's not a lot of bend. I'm not going this way and everything bends. My hips stay where they are, and my lower back stays pretty straight, and my upper back curves a little bit. That's my side bend. Now at address, I've got a couple degrees of side bend. By the time I get to first parallel, I'm back to about straight up and down. So let's say, for all you math people out here, Mary's gonna follow along. Let's say I've got 4 degrees of tilt or side bend at address. Okay, super bro science here. 4 degrees. I'm saying by the time you get to first parallel, you're back to 0. If I had 4 degrees of side bend to start, and I'm back to 0 by first parallel, that means I've gone from right side bend and added left side bend to get back to 0. So I've added 4 degrees of left side bend to get back to 0 from here. Now from here to the top, I'm going into more left side bend where I'm actually bent from there to the top. So you'll see it on camera. You won't see left side bend early. That's why some guys say, hey, don't do left side bend until later on. That's not reality. You're losing your right side bend right away. So you're left side bending. And then from there, from here to the top is where you'll see it more because that's when you're actually going from 0 into the pluses with left side bend. I don't know if that's confusing, but hopefully that makes sense. So you're doing it right away, technically. So it's not a bad idea. Jamie, how to swing the club under branches? I always get scared of hitting something in the backswing. Yeah, the first thing to do is don't hit it there, right? So like hit the ball in the fairway, ideally never in the trees. You don't have to worry about that. That's always tough. Even if you I'm sometimes in the trees. I know it's shocking, but sometimes I'm in the trees and you just trust, right? If you make a swing, there's a branch way you think you're going to hit it, can mess you up. Shorter swings, take more club. Don't be a hero. Get the ball back in play. And then for me to really answer that, depends on where the branch is, right? If the branch you're going under, you might have to go kind of more around your body as you go. Maybe practice that a little bit before you try it on the course or in a round where it matters. Should I stay centered with irons, or should there be an angle between legs and upper body face view in the backswing? Should I stay centered? Be an angle between legs and upper body? I'm assuming you mean an angle this way. So if you mean, should I stay centered, like look at my heads and the beautiful mountains in the back, should I stay on that, or should I go this way? you should not go this way. So if you search my name and centered, things like that, you want to more or less stay where you start during the backswing. If my head is where it's at, I'm going to move during the backswing, and I'm going to keep my head more or less on that. There can be a little bit of motion, right, to the right like this, but I don't want my center of my chest getting way to the right of my center of my hips. If I'm going to move to the right, I want both of them moving to the right and both to the left. I don't want to go chest down into the right type of feel. Let's see. Brian, can't imagine trying to diagnose a swing from 2 sentences. God bless you. Yeah, thanks. lot of lessons and a lot of studying stuff, man. How do you turn? And sometimes I can't from 2 sentences, right? I'm educated, throwing some educated guesses in some of this. How do you turn hook into more of a draw? You lessen how close the face is to the path. Now it depends on why it's hooking. Is that because your grip's too strong? Is that because your wrist conditions get too far this way? Are you too far under plane? I mean, that could be as simple as you're hooking it because you're way under plane and you need to neutralize your swing plane and get it more kind of back in front of you in neutral. That could be weakening your grip slightly. That could be changing your wrist condition slightly. JD, as Brian's point before, there could be several reasons why you hook it too much. That is an easy fix. When I say easy, I mean easy fix. Like if I was with someone in person and they were hooking it and I couldn't turn the hook into a draw within 10 swings, I would be shocked. It just depends on why you're doing it. I'd have to see. Check out the website unless you can find someone that's local around you that will help. That's easy fix. There's just too many reasons. Okay. Johnny B. Shot 90 on Saturday and wanted to say thanks for your help. You are very welcome. I also had a swing analysis and enrolled in a lesson plan for the winter. That's a smart man. Very smart man. Hopefully you're doing that this year, if that's what you're saying. Got to go for Canadian Thanksgiving dinner. Great. Okay. Have fun. Enjoy. Form rotations killing me on the takeaway. I have less than 0. Scoring well, but takeaway is just trash. Form rotation, I have less than 0. I'm not sure what you mean there, Corny. I have less than 0. If you have too much forearm rotation during your takeaway, so your hands are turning clockwise too much, you've got to feel like they turn counterclockwise. That also a simple but not easy fix, meaning if you put a camera behind you and you drew a line up the shaft like this, and you drew a line up the shaft. So here's you, here's a ball, here's a shaft line right through your belt line, and you want to get the club right on that line, and you're doing a video and you say, oh my gosh, Eric, I feel like I'm really counter rotating and you're still underneath like this, you need to do it more, right? Like you need to do some until you watch it and your club's literally out this way. Like I don't care how you hit it, you got to literally just overdo a couple and hit, like I chunked that, and hit a couple shots and then look back on video or ideally live view and say, hey, where's my shaft relative to that spot? It's all form. If it's too much form rotation, you need less of it, maybe even counter form rotation. If you recommend a phone app, you can draw lines over video to review swing videos. So we really like live view. Obviously, you got to, that's not a phone app. I mean, you got to have a video there too. But I think there's a bunch of them. I think like V1 is perfectly fine. If different people have different swing apps, they can put them on here. But yeah, there's a bunch that can work. I do not, Dennis, I do not have a specific answer or one that I recommend. We like using live view. Dan, as I go into my follow through, by the time I get to my finish, my right leg is next to my left leg. Is that not a problem, or does that make my legs less productive? No, you want to have your legs come together. I mean, there's different ways to do it. If I was like an optimal leg pattern would be both of my here's my upper legs, right? So my femur's up and down. Now, when I set up, there's gonna be a little bit of external rotation, so they're slightly out. My knees are slightly out. When I go back, my knees are gonna get closer together. As I start down, my knees get farther apart, mostly from my lead leg and my belt buckle turning, and my trail leg doesn't go in right away. My knee stays more towards 1 o'clock. My belt buckle, my leg turns around until I get about halfway down, say left arm 45 before I parallel. And then from there, my legs are going to squeeze back together into my follow through. So that's about normal. Legs farther apart, closer together on the way back, farther apart in transition, closer together in the follow through. Now, that doesn't mean you got to think about all that stuff. That's just what's actually happening. But your legs getting closer together inherently aren't a problem. You might be able to use them and use the ground for more power and speed. Not every good player has good leg work. In fact, there's lots of good players who don't have great leg work. You know, there's ideals and then there's functionality. Cassie, really enjoy your videos. Thank you. How you teach the golf swing. Thank you again. I use them often to help my son and several club members of the club. Keep up the great work. Thanks, Cassie. We appreciate that. Matt, hi, could you shortly show where the hands glove are supposed to be worn out when the grip pressure is correct? But so yeah, there's different varying. You can see. Look at my grip. It's time for a new grip. If anyone's out there, Strixon. It depends on who you talk to. Different varying degrees. Some people I talk to prefer the grip to be the club to be straight 90 degrees on the fingers like this, like you're kind of picking up a suitcase, and then you wrap from there. I tend to like it more that way. Some players like to have it a little more angled, so it goes kind of on the knuckle. We have a grip video coming out next month.
Yeah.
Okay, we also did a grip video, so that'll come out. So we have from this first knuckle into here. Some players will say, hey, angle it like that and wrap, and that'll be a little more on your fingers. I also have seen really good players from there. The reality is I've seen a lot of things work, right? It's hard for me to say just this, but more towards 90 is probably better for most people. You want to make sure the heel pad's on top and then the thumbs over here. So where it would wear out in your grip here would be just underneath sort of your heel pad. You see kind of where mine is dark there. And then there's different patterns depending upon how you grip it beyond the scope of this rapid fire. But that's how I would put your trail hand on there. Where your glove's going to wear depends on how you lay the club across your fingers, right? Wherever you feel your pressure points there is where that's going to be. Thank you, Eric. You're welcome. Grant, videotape myself. I was swinging really flat. Been working on shoulder turn or a steeper angle. Yeah, if you go flat because your shoulders turn too level, your left shoulder's higher, you're going to need to feel like your left shoulder goes down a little bit more to the top to get the shaft a little bit more vertical. You may have to feel a little bit of lift your lead arm like that, but that sounds like you're on the right thing there. Siggy, what's up, dude? What's happening? Thanks for watching. What's going on? Hello from Finland. Siggy, hopefully you're playing some good golf out there, dude. Haven't seen that swing for about 1.5 years. Let's see. Pookie. Does keeping your hips pointed down at the ground during the downswing and impact allow you to release and extend your arms during the release? Does keeping your hips pointed down at the ground? So I'm assuming you mean, so I don't know, when you say hips down towards the ground, you mean like anterior and posterior pelvic tilt, like my belt buckle down this way? So I have a little bit of anterior tilt this way versus under, or do you mean like left hip staying lower, right hip staying higher? The answer to that, what was the actual thing? Allow you to release and extend your arms during the release. Pookie, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by all that, or how to, yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but kind of what a good pivot would be that on the way down, my belt buckle wouldn't go up towards the sky. My belt buckle would go down, and I'd create a little bit of pelvic tilt here. So like anterior pelvic tilt like this. And also from this side, my lead hip would stay lower and or my trail hip would stay higher. Can we write that one down too? How the hips work in the downswing, pelvic tilt, right? How the hips work on the downswing, pelvic tilt, and then right belt buckle down, not up. And I'll know what that means from there. Thank you. You guys are contributing to the videos here. This is good. Oh, this is too big now. Like too many. We got too many videos. Have a strong let's see. I have a strong grip, and I'm tired of throwing it to the left and not being able to control the jaw. Have a strong grip. So if you have a stronger grip pattern, then you need to have more of a sort of drive, hold, release pattern. That means the stronger grip, right? Players who have strong grips that are really good, you would see less forearm rotation, and you would see less. So you would see the handle more forward, you see less forearm rotation, and you don't have to add any flexion. So if you're, let's say, throwing it too much, or you have too much forearm rotations going left, you want to feel things like you're like anti that. You have a real strong grip. You want to feel that. Man, I think the camera. I think it's good. Yeah, the elbow at the target. The elbow stays pointed at the target longer. See what that does to my face. So if I keep my elbow, if I got a real strong grip, I want to feel my elbow pointed at the target almost forever. That's sort of the sensation there, like this. Compared to under this way, you don't need to have a lot of lead arm supination. You have almost little. So elbow stays at the target. I'll go ahead and do one here. With a, oh boy, elbow stays at the target. You see, that's not my normal grip pattern. Elbow stays at the target. Let's try that one more time. It's going to feel like there's less face rotation. And for you, that's kind of the moral. That was better. That's kind of the moral of the story. Less arm rotation, make sure your wrist isn't getting too much flexion. Lead elbow at the target longer. If you have a super strong grip pattern, I feel like you're sort of holding it off more than normal. Your logo of the glove can go at the target longer, things like that. If you search my name in passive release you'll kind of see a little bit more of that in there. That's the worst shot I hit in a while. Goodness gracious. Ian, early extend just at impact. Start of downswing is good and club shaft bisecting right form, so not steep, but then massive thrust forward impact. Any ideas? Yeah, you got to do something to fix that. Sometimes that could be the issue and you got to fix that. The best thing to do is a video we got coming out, like I said earlier, where you have a object behind you. So if I took my normal setup and I had a wall or an object about a hand behind my left hip. So imagine my golf bag behind me. And when you start your downswing, it's like a chair drill. You don't want to bump your left butt cheek back. That's not the idea. You want to get the seam line or the side of your left hip to that by the time you hit the impact. See what that does to my hips there? Can you see that? How deep my hips are when I do that? Not butt to the wall, seam line to the wall. So if you're looking from this angle, what you want to do is put an object about a hand behind you. When you start your downswing, get your seam line like right here, this little side like on your pocket. Get that to touch the wall before you get the impact. That will fix your early extension. That would be a big feel for that. You can also feel some anterior tilt. So if you're good, then you thrust in this way, belt buckle up towards the sky. You can feel like what we just talked about, belt buckle back down towards the ground. When you go like this and put your belt buckle down, what happens to your butt? Goes back or forward? Goes back. So belt down makes your butt go back. Then you want to get the side of your hip back behind you. So you can feel the belt buckle down, get that seam line back as you go. Goodness gracious. That would be a really good early extension. I really like that drill a lot of getting the seam line sort of behind you there like that. You can feel the tilt. You can feel the tilt on the way back like that. That would be good. There's a lot of different early extension drills we did. There's a lot of options, but those would be the good ones. I gotta hit one because I just hit two terrible. Getting myself all messed up here. So yeah, lots of early extension options to fix that. All right, we're back. Okay, I had to get that out of my system. Short thumb or long thumb. Yeah, but either one can work good. It just depends on the size of your hands, depends on your grip pattern. No correct or incorrect there. Annie from Finland, hello. Let's see here. What time in the season is the best time to get fitted for clubs? Yeah, it depends. It depends on the part of the season. It also depends on where you're at in your development. So the more beginner you are, or the more in the beginning of swing changes you are, I think the least it makes sense to get clubs fit. The farther along you are in terms of the process of playing, or the farther you are along in a swing change, the more it makes sense. Swing changes don't always mean you got to get different clubs, but it depends where you're on the process. So if you're working on your swing over the winter, probably clubs like in the spring, early spring, March, April to get ready for the season. Probably not mid-season, or you can do something later into the winter. So it just depends on where you're at in the process. Thoughts on aiming for the inside part of the ball to help shallow your downswing? Yeah, if that works, that's fine. It's definitely not a guaranteed way to do it. But if that helps you, that's fine. Sometimes it's as simple as that. If that shallows it out, that's great. The thought or the feel or the drill is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's what you actually produce. But if that produces it, that's fine. Do you lose that right side bend with driver also? So it's like zero tilt at the top of the swing. Comment, yes, you do. So when you take your setup, here's your tilt, right? With an 8-iron, you got a couple degrees. Now with a driver, you've got a bunch more. So with a driver, you probably have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, it depends on who you are. Let's call it 10 degrees on average. So you'll have more, not hips forward tilt, you'll have more side bend. Lower part of the spine straight, upper part's tilted back with the driver. Hips stay where it's at. When you go to the top, you're getting rid of that right side bend, getting back to about normal, and then there's still left side bend. Now the difference is in transition, as I begin down, I'm gonna go, my head, remember we did the video with Marty, gets back to level, and then once I go back, there's gonna be more right side bend and more bend to be able to hit up on the ball. But during the backswing, you're still losing that side bend, yes. Good tip for getting out of, if you didn't lose the right side bend or didn't do left side bend, you turn very flat. With which a driver you can play with, it's okay. It would be better that way than the irons, but you still lose that. Okay, guys, we have a minute and a half, so I'm going to rapid fire through some of these. Scott, good tip for getting out of the fairway bunker traps. Hard time with this. Yeah, that's a tough one, Scott. I mean, what I would normally do out of a fairway bunker is not dig my feet in very much. I'd grip down about an inch, move the ball back, and do whatever I need to do to make sure I hit ball first contact. Now, for me, those feels might be different for you. What I do out of a fairway bunker is I grip up, I don't dig in much, the ball goes slightly farther back, and I feel like I'm trying to hit it a little thin on purpose. I'll feel like my hands are really working up and left past impact, and if I hit it a touch thin, a groove thin, that's perfectly fine. I don't think we did a fairy bunker video on here, but we do have some on the membership site, but that's kind of the moral of the story with that. How much side bend is needed for a driver swing? Probably close to 10 degrees at address, and then more during the downswing. If you watch iron versus driver we did with Marty, I'll go through that in more detail. Yes, pelvic tilt during downswing and follow through. Does it help with keeping the arms extended through impact? Yes, it does. Does it help with extension? It helps you having room to get your arms back in front. Yes. Okay, you are welcome. You are welcome. My son went from his lead leg collapsing on the backswing to now he barely bends it on the backswing. It looks very stiff to say the least. Drills to get his legs closer correctly on the backswing. So if he doesn't bend it enough, he needs to bend it more, right? So on the way back, I like to see from here up to the top, this angle between your hip and your lead leg. See how that's straight up and down? I don't like to see the hip staying this way or the lead leg. I like to have the hip internally rotate so the left knee works in a little bit, the left hip works down. If he doesn't bend his leg enough, he's going to feel like his left hip works lower, his right hip works higher, and he bends his leg, his left knee comes in a little bit. That's very stock general advice, but that would be the fix for that. The fix is always the opposite of what you're currently doing, right? Of course, you got to massage that a little bit. But how do you best reduce driver spin? Seem to be losing a lot of distance. How would the swing change with irons? How do you reduce driver spin? Hit the ball in the middle or upper part of the face. Make sure you're not hitting it low. You can get a club fitting and ensure that you actually have the specs fit. You want to be able to hit up on the ball without a ton of loft. How you mechanically do that, there's a lot involved with that. Really, if you look at your swing video and look at general mechanics, if you have too much spin, it's either a club problem or it's a mechanics problem. It's one of those two. Whatever mechanics problem is causing too much spin, could be hitting too far down on the ball. It could be adding too much loft, could be hitting low in the face. There's a lot of reasons. You got to fix that big mechanics thing, and then that would fix that. Good sensation for whipping at the bottom of my downswing with my hybrid, but not with my driver. How to increase that whipping motion with my driver to increase my speed? I don't know. I'd have to ask you a lot more questions, Annie, there. I don't think there's a stock answer to that. I don't know. You need to feel that whipping thing. We have to discuss what exactly do you mean by that whipping thing? What are the actual mechanics involved with that? So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Okay, last one. The problem I have is having a strong grip, a flat plane, and downswing come vary from the inside out. This causes me to stick hooks or fade slice. How can I fix it? Yeah, so you explained a lot of things there. The question is, do you need to change your grip? Do you need to change your flat backswing plane? And how do you change your downswing? I've got very easy answers for all of those things. It depends on which one you're trying to focus on. We're past our time limit here. What I would do is join CornellGolf.com, pay the $39, post your swings up on there and let us work with you on it. I don't know. Should you change your grip? I don't know. I need to know more. Do you need to change a flat backswing? Not 100%. It depends. If you're too far inside of the downswing, you definitely need to change that. But are you too far from the inside because your grip's too strong and that's what really needs to change? Those are things that need to be massageable and talked about. So no black and white answer to that one. You got to determine whether you want to change your grip first or not, I think. And then from there, you can change the backswing, downswing plane potentially. I'd have to see a video of your swing is the real answer. So as you guys all on here, again, like if you want to join on there, have me check your swing, you can join the site. You can post your videos in the Facebook group and then I can give you specific answers to all this. So hopefully that all made sense. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, we have 2 more sessions next Monday and the following Monday. 2 more rapid fires for season 1. We have 39 episodes. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this, and we will see you guys back for next Monday. Thank you guys. Appreciate you guys being here and watching.